what I'm trying to do is capture some of the magic of these conversations and create things that other managers can see, to hear what somebody who's doing something really well, how they talk about it, how they do it. I have a little collection brewing right now that I'm going to probably come out with by the end of the week, the first half a dozen of these. And I asked you, what if you were going to do something as like what your superpower is, what would it be? Remember what you said?
Culture.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to capture that. You're talking to other people who do what you do in our organization. And I'm a big believer, obviously, in culture and character as two things that actually make a real estate company magic and beat all the mercenaries out there. But tell me, when you think about culture, like how do you think about it?
Well, this is so in between. I'm a boomerang realtor. I worked in real estate, then I left and I did talent management. And the talent management work I did was specifically in the area of career development and leadership development and engagement and retention. And I heard a saying one time, and it says that culture is like oxygen. You only notice it's missing when it's not there, right?
Right.
Right. If it's not there, then you notice it. And culture is, we talk about right now, we as an organization are talking a lot about recruiting. Well, I'm not a recruiter. I don't want to recruit. I want to attract.
Right.
Right. We attract, we develop, and we retain. And at the root of all of that is culture. And culture drives engagement, culture drives retention. And we know, I think it's so years ago, when we were still in Coldwell Banker here in Austin, Texas, when we were still part of Coldwell Banker United, a franchise, right when the merger came up, the acquisition, Joe King came and talked to us about recruiting. And he gave me this little card, and it's a 3-legged stool.
Nice.
And I still have it right here on my desk. It's a great reminder, and he called it recruit, develop, and retain. But I call it attract, develop, and retain. We need all three of those pieces. It's much easier to attract talent to us when we have the culture. Because if we have culture, people are engaged, people are excited, whether they're our agents or our staff. And you can't have engagement and you can't have retention without having trust. And I think trust is really the root of culture, because as a leader, whether we're wearing our leader hat or our manager hat, no matter which one we're wearing, we have to be trusted. Our people have to trust us that we're going to do what we say we're going to do every day. It's like the 4 agreements that Don Miguel Ruiz talks about, right?
Right.
Be impeccable with your word, always do your best, don't make assumptions. I mean, that is kind of.
It's so funny because you started off saying that it's like oxygen, right? And
yeah.
You don't know it's gone till it's gone, which ties into the fact that it's hard to articulate what it is, right? It's hard to explain culture. It's easy for our competitors to explain 99.9% commission splits and you're on your own. They leave the second part out of the conversation, by the way. They just say, you're the greatest and here's all the money. But the translation is you still need all that stuff and you're going to be paying for it yourself this time. I want to do something kind of fun, rapid fire with you. Okay. There are do's and don'ts that are like culture is character, character is demonstratable, right?
Yes.
And so thinking about, and listen, I'll edit out any part of this thing where we're going, if we're thinking like, forget about this being a show. This becomes a show after we're done, right?
Okay.
And you'll love what I end up cutting out of this. Okay. So all this banter doesn't make it. But do's and don'ts are things like, you just hit on trust, and trust becomes what happens when you walk by and see somebody's day planner and Rolodex sitting on their desk. Well, you text your friend and say, yo, your day planner is sitting on the desk. I'll grab it and I'll hang on to it. Or should I put it in your drawer or whatever? There are real estate companies out there that would not be the thing that happens. What would happen is somebody would look at that and start saying, oh, she's got a great sphere. You know, I wonder how much of that sphere is in that book right there. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying they'll grab it, But you would worry about that if you said, oh shit, my day planner's on the desk. I got to get back to the office and grab it. Or I got to call a friend. I got to call a lifeline to go grab it and hide it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I've known cultures where agents got laptops stolen because they dared to leave them on the desk and forget to take them home with them. Right. And in fact, as we talk about do's and don'ts, funny story is that story happened in one of my offices, and we went all detective. I put a fake camera. I think I knew who did it, but I had to catch him in the act. So I put a fake camera up. It wasn't fake. It was a computer camera, those little eyeballs. I stuck it up in a place that was visible from the top of my office glass, pointing at the bullpen of this office that I was sitting in, and then found an occasion to ask the person, you got something you need to tell me? There's something you need to tell me, because if you tell me, we'll go lenient on you. You can't work here anymore, but you got something you want to tell me? And they're like, yeah, I took the laptop. I was like, I've watched way too many detective shows, but I got this one right. But like that, it's a silly story, but it kind of illustrates the idea that it was horrifying to me that people in the office would start to be afraid to leave their laptop on the desk.
Yeah, that's pretty horrifying.
So do's and don'ts, like what kind of things happen in the office that you cultivate, try to, manifest that reinforces it every day?
Celebrating each other's success. So that can be something as simple as every time an agent, a realtor that comes to work in our office. And by the way, my office is called the Most Fabulous Northwest Office.
Okay.
All of our meeting invitations are the Most Fabulous Northwest Office. All of my correspondence that goes out is to the Most Fabulous Northwest Office folks, because I want them to remember how fabulous they are. Right? We are a collective of the whole. So it's the Most Fabulous Northwest Office. So your first closing here, and COVID has made part of these rituals more challenging. Right. But we'll pop a bottle of Prosecco on your first closing. And then we do that little, what's that little app that's like the boomerang one where everybody's doing this with their glass and toast it, right? We do pizza and Prosecco call night for Clients for Life. We know Clients for Life goes out on the second Tuesday of every month. So on the Monday before, the Monday after, we order pizza and drink Prosecco when we do call night. And one person practices because this person over here is real nervous about a script. So it could be that.
Now, Clients for Life, real quick, Clients for Life is not in every market in the country, I've learned. So that's your sphere of influence marketing system, right? Basically, right. Your drip campaign. Got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
It can be whatever it is, at our, we celebrate Who Made the $1 Million Month every month. And we do postings on social media, and I give them, if they're in the office when at that meeting, everybody that made the $1 Million Month Club gets a bottle of Prosecco.
So Prosecco is a do. I'll put Prosecco down. That's a do.
I know. It does show up on my expense report. But it's part of, we also have sparkling cider, but it's part of the culture. We celebrate each other because we know there's 3 stay factors, right? Their attraction. What attracts you to an organization is really the same thing as what will cause you to leave. And Dr. Beverly Kay wrote a book called Love 'Em or Lose 'Em, 26 Strategies. I worked for Career Systems. Amazing. It is so simple, Greg. It is so simple. The 26 strategies are A to Z, and this is not a love 'em or lose 'em commercial, but I use this every day. You have stay conversations with people before you have exit conversations with them. So that is whether the agent wants my role as a coach and advocate or support. Real simple. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you be wildly successful. What does wildly successful look like to you? I don't know how to coach, advocate, or support you if I don't know what's important to you.
So the stay conversation is one of those rules, and that's not waiting until, not treating them like gold on the way in and ignoring them until they're on their way out, but making sure that what happens in between is like you're getting to know them when you're having that conversation. They're telling you the hopes and dreams. Some people come out with it quick, and some it's later on in the conversation, many times down the line, where they actually.
And you have to build trust.
Right.
You have to build the trust, because we know what attracts people to organizations are fair pay. Number one is fair pay, right? There might be tweaks here and there, but as long as it's fair pay, an exciting opportunity for exciting and challenging work. People don't want to be bored. People want to do something that's exciting, an opportunity to grow. right? And I think the pivotal piece that people forget is a manager and the leader of the company, because we know that people don't leave companies, people leave managers. And it's true. People leave managers. So the same things that will attract people, if we don't give people opportunity for growth and development, the tools and the support to grow their business, to develop themselves, to challenge themselves. And if we don't respect them and really respect them, people know when we're playing lip service.
That appreciation, I think, for who they are, what they do, and how they operate without a net. And they operate it without a net, except for us. Like, we're the ones holding the net, right? And we're the ones that's doing the encouraging and everything. And I love the way you've explained it, because you're right. If it's empty BS, if the trust isn't there. And so the trust, like, how do you confront a situation where, okay, here's a scenario. Top producer, not a culturally big contributor to the office, right? Looking out for number one, good producer, not a bad person, but just, I do my own thing, right? Newbie who has a lead that's from that person's farm, right? And that person says, that's my listing lead. Top producer says, like, lays out the innuendo, like, I'm getting offers from across town that are like delicious offers. Like, you don't mess with me. That's my listing. I want the listing. And I'm not going to pay a referral fee to the agent. What does a manager do? What does a leader do in that situation?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question, because in Austin, we don't have protected territories.
Right.
So unless you have a demonstrable market share, unless you're 30 to 40% market share in a particular subdivision, you don't get to lay claim to all the listings, right? Okay. And what it is, it really is, it's about coming from a place of abundance. Every blue and white Coldwell Banker Realty sign that's on this street, that's in this neighborhood, is going to be good for all of us, right?
Yep.
So,
abundance. So that's the way that I have always phrased that, is that we're all in the office. Everybody in the office is technically competitors and teammates at the same time. And
yeah.
So every decision, every thought you have, if it veers somehow towards competitor, you got to pull it back and direct it towards teammate, because of what it does mean to, like, when you see somebody get a listing, do you have a production board on your wall where new listings get written up? Yeah. Like, you want spontaneous applause when that happens, whoever is in earshot of it, which is why you pop a bottle of Prosecco and celebrate every little milestone, because people get used to the idea that, hey, milestone, it wasn't mine, it was yours, but it might as well be mine, because I'm the first baseman, you're the shortstop. You caught the ground ball. I'm happy you caught the ground ball. Cool.
We have a saying, our Facebook saying is, for our most fabulous Northwest office, is we work hard, we play hard, and we make a difference. And what I tell people is, if you're not nice, you don't get to work here.
That is a sign waiting to be made. Is that on the wall anywhere?
We work hard, we play hard, we make a difference is on the wall.
If you're not, that's not going to write that one down, because it was perfect. I don't want to paraphrase it. If you're not nice,
you don't get to work here.
You don't get to work here.
You don't get to work here.
That's why I wanted to write it down, because I would have written down, you can't work here, but that's not what it is. It's, you don't get to work here.
You don't get to work here.
Privilege. You're not part of the fabulous, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's all inclusive. It is all inclusive. And in a situation like the one you just talked about, what I might do is I would go to the experienced agent in the neighborhood and I say, here's an opportunity for you to mentor. Would you be willing to mentor and collaborate with this agent? You know everything about the neighborhood. And I think about my agents that, quote, own market share in neighborhoods. Absolutely.
They would do it. So you deputize them into leadership by asking them if they'd like to do something. So you don't just, you actually set up collaborations where people that wouldn't otherwise have collaborated. There's a human instinct in a lot of people. I think most people, that they love that. Like, I see something in you that reminds me of myself when I was your age, is like a huge motivator for so many people.
Exactly. Well, and we do what we call power hours. So power hours on Friday. And most of the time they went virtual for a while, but now they're hybrid. So I attracted and brought in a woman from another agency who was a big producer. She did a lot with Zillow and online leads, but she was missing culture. She didn't feel appreciated. So she came to work here, and people were like, oh, Jamie, she came from where, blah, blah, blah. So I said, Jamie, would you be willing to share? So she did a power hour, and her power hour was how to work online leads. I have another agent. One day I went into my deals and I said, Laura, my goodness, she'd just gotten a new assistant to help her. I said, I just saw 16 new home build contracts. What happened? And she goes, oh my gosh, Teresa, blah, blah, blah. And she started telling me how she was working with these builders. Because remember, in Austin, we have 2 weeks of inventory in the MLS. So Laura did a power hour on tips and tricks for new home construction and new build. So you set that up, and then we have our private Facebook page, which is where you do all the things like you ask for a plumber, or, you ask for that recommendation, but you can always say, I've got this challenge. What do you do when this happens? Or I need someone to host an open house, or I'm going out of town. Will you show my buyer? So you cultivate that, you feed it, because what you feed, what you pay attention to, and what you feed is what will grow.
Listen, this was great. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for everything today. I got to jump, but I'll let you know when this thing rolls out, which will be middle of next week or something.
Great. I appreciate it, Greg. Thank you so much.
Good talking to you.
Bye.
Bye.